Okay, hi BookTube, Erin here, hope you're doing alright. Today I'm going to be looking at what I read and what I didn't read in the month of August, and also looking forward into September and my plans for the coming month. And you might remember back at the beginning of August, as I was planning things out, I had a massive pile of books that I wanted to read, and I only made a dent in it, which I was kind of expecting, because I just got distracted and read other things, which is totally fine. So I'll get into that in a minute. But let's go through what I actually did read in August. So the first thing here is "And the Earth Will Sit on the Moon: Essential Stories" by Nikolai Gogol. So I think I finished this one off right at the beginning of the month. And it was really good. He's I can see the influence he's had on other writers, and he has that kind of, just sort of weird, sort of bizarre element, but also there's this kind of tension between something being really distressing or depressing or just sad. It's, I don't know, it's hard to put into words. It's kind of funny, but it's sad, and you feel bad and kind of feel sympathy for the character in the book. So it's complicated but brilliant and kind of relatable in a weird way. And then I moved on to something equally quite interesting, The Last Wolf by László Krasznahorkai. And actually, so this is two short stories. There's one called The Last Wolf, which is a 70-page sentence, and then there's a story called Herman, which is split into two parts. I think my favourite thing in the book here was the story Herman, particularly the first part, and it's the story of essentially of kind of like a gamekeeper, and it's his job to get rid of any undesirable animals in this sort of wildlife park, and then he has this dream about all the animals he's killing, and he takes some rather unusual action to kind of counterbalance this. And then the second part of the story is just a different perspective, and maybe getting you to think about how maybe this first version of the story might be a bit unreliable, or maybe this version of the story we're hearing is unreliable. You're getting kind of a slightly different picture. But yeah, and then the Last Wolf, I don't know, I might have to revisit it, because it didn't actually quite strike the chord I was expecting. It was interesting, but I'm going to give that one another look at some other point. I don't know when. And then on to one of the books that was on my big pile of books for August, and that's Love in the Time of Cholera by Gabriel García Márquez, for Gabo August instead of Gab August. And it was really good. It's one of those books that, at least for me, just reminds me what I love so much about reading and about sinking into a novel. It was actually my first time reading Márquez, and he's just one of those writers that you're just happy to sit back and listen to. He's he knows what he's doing. Again, a similar writer in that respect, a writer that really knows what they're doing for the next one, and it was also on my list of books to read. It was Beloved by Toni Morrison. I think this is the only book that I gave 5 stars on Goodreads, and it's just it's been ages since I've read Toni Morrison, but I absolutely adore her writing, and the story is so poignant. Just as you're piecing everything together around the middle section of the novel, she just kind of treads around certain subjects really gracefully, and then there are other moments where these really brutal truths are just brought home just terrifically and quite disturbingly. I was thinking, for a book that has this kind of supernatural, sort of almost magical element to it. The most horrific things are just the things we do to each other as human beings. So it was, really poignant in that respect. And then the next 3 books for August, they were all poetry collections. So I read the selected poems of Wallace Stevens. Really fascinating poet. And I want to read a few other things that weren't included in there, like Auroras of Autumn. But he has this sense of subjectivity, which I found quite original and quite compelling. I'm not entirely sure still what I think of Wallace Stevens, but it was definitely very interesting and largely enjoyable. And then a similar experience with the next one. That's Paul Muldoon's Frolic and Detour. So I hauled this fairly recently. It's a recent purchase, and it's a relatively recent book by Muldoon. And it's the usual stuff. He's as weird and witty as always, but there's a much stronger sort of political undercurrent to this. I mean, there have in past poems of his, particularly in his earlier poetry, there's the politics of that time back when he was writing earlier on in there, and then I don't know, it felt just very much of the moment, whereas the last poetry collection I read by him from about 2016, something like that, didn't really have that as much, or I didn't pick up on it as much. So it was interesting to see. And then the last book then on this list is Fernando Pessoa. So some selected poems by Fernando Pessoa and Co. So a few of his other heteronyms. And I think I might do I was planning to do a Poetry Thursday that kind of works like a review of this book, going through, a poem by each heteronym, because it was really fascinating, and I feel like I could go back to it tomorrow and reread it and get something completely different out of it. So that was a delight as well. And then sort of books that I've sort of ongoing, that I started and haven't finished yet. As always with these wrap-ups at the moment, I'm still making progress with Remembrance of Things Past by Marcel Proust, still in the 2nd volume, Within a Budding Grove, still in the first part of the 2nd volume, called Madame Swan at Home. But it's been really good. I'm beginning to feel that his writing kind of comes in waves, and you just kind of have to ride them out, and it, there's a kind of back and forth with his writing, and it's been really fun so far. I've been hoping to try and do like a bit of a Proust vlog, just going in sort of volume by volume. I've tried filming the first part a few times and just haven't quite come up with something that I'm happy with, but I think I might give it another go, just so I can give Proust a bit more time, because he obviously needs it. And then the other 2 ongoing books, The Complete Stories of Kafka. So this is just one of the ones where I was just in the mood for something completely different to the goals that I'd set for myself. And so I got on with some Kafka, and I'm maybe about a third way through. Already read The Metamorphosis and In the Penal Colony, and I think they're the only 2 kind of famous ones in there that I've read so far. But like Gogol, it's weird and phantasmagoric, and yet there's this kind of sympathetic pull at the same time. Really good. And then the last of these ongoing books are the selected poems of Paul Celan, and these are kind of ethereal and dark at the same time. It's sad but good, and very mysterious. He's writing in the aftermath of the Second World War and the Holocaust, and even when for him he's being rather head-on with these issues. It's really, relatively speaking, not really that head-on. But I do kind of appreciate that, and there's something kind of mysterious and esoteric to his approach, even if he kept on insisting that he wasn't a hermetic poet. And then the 4 books that I'd said I'd try and read in August, but I just didn't. And I'm just gonna put them next to my bed as books to kind of just grab if I have a gap somewhere. I'm gonna grab them, and they're in order of how important I suppose it feels to me at the moment that I read them. So the first one would be The Heart of Darkness by Joseph Conrad. We've got Ray Bradbury, The Illustrated Man. We've got J.M. Coetzee, In the Heart of the Country. And then we've got Piranesi by Susana Clarke. So again, a bit of variety there, keeping things interesting. And then that moves us on into September. And as well as the ongoing things, there's Shaketember, the big event that I missed out on it last year, so I'm hoping to participate in some way, shape or form. And I think my main project for Shaketember is going to be working my way through this. So I've got this Oxford Shakespeare here, which is his complete sonnets and poems, and it's got tons and tons of notes. And I think I'm going to do my best to just get through it cover to cover in September. So we'll see how I do. I've read Venus and Adonis before, but I think that's the only of his longer poems that I've read. I have read all the sonnets before, but it's going to be good to get reacquainted with them. And it's quite nice to find in here, I've got this little piece of paper, I'm not sure if you can make it out, where I've just written rough sonnet grouping, and then we've got sonnet 160, and then sonnet 61 to 103, sonnet 104 to 126, and then 127 through to 154. I didn't really write down what those groupings, were, what maybe the main themes were. So maybe I don't know whether I just forgot to do that or whether I just got distracted. So I'm gonna think a bit about that and work that out as I'm going through Shakespeare's sonnets. And then also for Shaketember, I know they're reading Lukáš and Rainey and Jason. They've all picked a play each. So we've got Coriolanus, we've got A Midsummer Night's Dream, and what was the other one? All's Well That Ends Well. And I know I've read All's Well That Ends Well and A Midsummer Night's Dream before. So they're less of a priority, although I do really want to reread them. But out of the plays, I'm going to make Coriolanus my sort of my go-to, my priority. And I've got my my big sort of Norton complete Shakespeare here. I've also downloaded Shakespeare's complete works onto my Kindle, and I'm going to be camping for the first full week of September, so next week, and so I'm going to charge up my Kindle and take that along with me. So if I'm in the mood for some Shakespeare plays, I've got them all with me. And then the only other book that I've got down to read in September, because I've got Proust, I've got Kafka, I've got Paul Celan, is W.G. Sebald, who's another writer beginning with S, and so that's kind of why I've prioritised him. And I think I'm going to try and read Vertigo this month. I've also got Austerlitz over there on the shelf, but this one's just been on the shelf longer, so I'm going to get to that one first. And I really love The Rings of Saturn, but just haven't got around to anything else by him yet, so gonna give Vertigo a go. But also for Shaketember, I've also got these here, some sort of DVDs of 3 of the plays, and they are sort of Shakespeare's Globe productions. So I've got Romeo and Juliet here, I've also got the Tempest, and I've got Much Ado About Nothing, and I think the Tempest is my favourite Shakespeare play, but these two have kind of battled it out over the past. So I might try and spend some time watching some Shakespeare as well as reading Shakespeare in September. But there we go. That's all of that for now. I've got a lot of books to clean up and put back in their places. But yeah, let me know what you think, and I'm looking forward to watching some more wrap-ups and reading plan videos. And yeah, happy reading. See you soon. Bye.